everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about FlindersLINK, the extension of the Tonsley rail line to Flinders University and Medical Centre. The train line opened up at the end of 2020, and today I want to talk about why I have some problems with it and some of the flaws that were developed around the extension of this rail line, and how it hasn't really managed to live up to its full potential. For a bit of history and context, the idea of the line really got going in around 2018, with the extension of the train line from Tonsley to Flinders, some 650 metres. It was proposed that this would cost $86 million, though this budget later increased to $140 million. And this means it is quite expensive for a single track railway, although it is elevated along most of its length. Now, this project was supposed to be a catalyst. It was the first extension to the Adelaide rail network in about 6 years since the extension to Seaford. So, this project was opened at the tail end of last year and has since seen quite a bit of success. It has been mildly popular, but I think it could have been much more popular if there was really a real plan around the Flinders line. Because if you look at where this station is, it's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's surrounded by a lot of nothing. Now, when the FlindersLINK station was planned, it was just put in the spot that was essentially the easiest place that it could go. This means it's located quite a distance from both educational and health precincts, and especially the Flinders bus interchange, which is something we'll be talking about later. Now, overall, this has been quite a problem because it means when you get to the Flinders railway station, you're still quite far away from accessing what you came to Flinders for, whether that be Flinders Private, the Flinders Public Hospital, or Flinders University, or even to transfer onto an onwards bus towards the southern suburbs. The problem is, it's reasonably hard to get to any of these places. Flinders University does run minibus shuttles between the station and its educational precincts, but this overall isn't really a proper solution because it makes the trip longer and does make catching the bus faster, which it really shouldn't be. Part of the problem is that the Flinders station is mostly surrounded by car park and an oval. This means there aren't really any attractive places you want to go near the station. Although there has been a coffee shop set up near the station, which is certainly quite nice, it's not really that attractive to actually be at the station area, and it does make getting to the station mildly hard. You can only really access it from the bridge, South Road, or the car park to the east. The station is surrounded by car parks for visitors to the Flinders Medical Precinct and Flinders staff. Train stations designed around car parking aren't very attractive, and they have limited ridership potential, and especially as these car parks can't even be used to catch the train, they quite honestly have little usability. Now, this won't always be the case. There is a plan by the Flinders University to develop a lot of land around the Flinders station. Some of it looks quite good. It's an expansion of the Flinders medical area, and as the Flinders University looks to expand to the Adelaide CBD, having the train line from their university to the CBD will be quite helpful. But this development is still quite some years off, with the current situation not having a lot of international tourists. Flinders University has paused a lot of its capital works. So this does mean for the foreseeable future there won't be a lot of development around the station. And even when there is, I honestly don't think the development they're proposing is big enough to solely justify the train station. Because what I really think needs to be done to the train station is to better integrate the southern bus interchange with it. The Flinders bus interchange at the moment is several minutes walk from the train station. This makes it very inconvenient to change from the train to the bus and vice versa. This means that not many people are going to be transferring between the two different modes, and most people are going to continue to take the bus into the city instead of taking the train, which should be more faster. It's only 22 minutes from Flinders to the CBD. That's much faster than the 722F or the G20, for example. But simply because of the walk to the station, it means it's not a very convenient transfer, and not many people are going to be willing to do it, especially as the transfer isn't very high quality. It's a lot of narrow paths through the current Flinders private hospital. It's not particularly attractive. Combine that with the train frequency of the Flinders line not being particularly special, means it's quite hard to justify transferring between these two modes. The Flinders line only runs every half an hour throughout most of the day, and only 20 minutes during the peak. This means that if you're transferring from the bus to the train, chances are you're going to be waiting quite a long time for that train to get moving, only further solidifying your desire to take the bus over the train. The buses certainly aren't as nice as the train, they aren't as fast, they aren't as spacious, they aren't as air conditioned. But they're faster, they don't require a several-minute walk between interchanges to get to the Flinders station. Rebuilding the Flinders interchange next to the train station I think would be a major improvement. Demolish the car park, expand the area, make it so you can have a Zone A and Zone B at the Flinders train station, make transfers easier, increase train frequencies to 15 minutes all day. However, there would be some downsides to this. Relocating the bus interchange would also mean the bus interchange is located further away from the rest of the Flinders precinct, and I do think this does have its issues in and of itself, as trying to redevelop Flinders to face public transportation and a relocated bus interchange in the current train station is quite hard. It's not designed for it. The current bus interchange is in the current spot because it is generally quite centrally focused. At the moment, the Flinders line is sort of a train to nowhere. Although it's certainly not as bad as most of the other stations on the Adelaide rail network, but as a brand new station on a train line that costs some $140 million, it's certainly not ideal, and it could have been much better integrated to increase ridership. I have used the train quite a number of times personally, and the ridership of each time I've gone to Flinders isn't particularly amazing, although it's certainly probably better in the morning peak, and the transfer at Woodlands Park does allow people on the Seaford line to transfer into Flinders. It's still not the best situation, because overall the bus is probably going to be faster. People are only going to take the train if they have a good transfer or they live near a train station. At the moment, the Flinders line only really works if you're travelling directly from Adelaide to Flinders station. If you change this route even a little bit, if you start from a different place in the Adelaide CBD, it's probably going to be faster just to take the bus. Especially if you're going further south than Flinders, it's always going to be faster to take the G10 or a 720 series. It's very similar to other parts of Adelaide's rail network, as in, it's often faster just to take the bus, even if it parallels a relatively close train line, as Adelaide's buses are just too good, and the trains stop far too often for them to be a faster and more competitive means of travel. I would love to see improvements that made the Flinders line faster. For example, increasing station spacing, increasing the average speed of the train, get the trip time beneath 20 minutes, run the train more frequently so you're not waiting as long at either end of the station, make the trip more competitive, relocate the bus interchange, run less buses from the south into the city, try and force more transfers where possible. At least in my opinion, Flinders has the ability to be a much better station and be much more usable than it currently is. It does have quite a solid foundation, and I do believe, with time, it can be better, but it requires strong government commitment to make the train more usable than parallel bus routes. So, thanks for watching the video. This wasn't the originally planned video for this week, but it's the one I ended up doing after I visited Flinders myself. The next video is hopefully going to be one on the overland and how it can be improved. But until then, like, subscribe, stick around, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.